G'day guys, welcome back to the Aussie Gooner channel. And yeah, I had to do it. The match preview for yous and all that and everyone for Arsenal Ipswich. A game, a must win for Arsenal, a must win for Ipswich. 3 points up for grabs in the Premier League. But before I get into that, this channel has hit a new high. I've actually just hit 600 and something subs. And look, big up to everyone who's subscribed to the channel. Big up to everyone who's liked the content. Big up for everyone who's sharing the content. It's much appreciated. I'm surprised that I'm getting such a... Honestly, I can't believe that I've gone from 500 odd subs to 600 odd subs in 2 vids. And that's all because of you guys just pretty much jumping on board and towing the line. And I really do appreciate it. And look, hey, you know, every single time, 600, 700, 800, hopefully we can get to 1,000. It'd be wonderful. But don't think it goes unnoticed because I was sitting there, I was like, what the hell's going on here? And the Aussie Gooner channel's growing. So big up yourselves. It really makes me feel good. And to be honest, this channel sort of brought me back. But to the topic at hand, it's Arsenal and Ipswich. Oh, it's a clash of the Titans. Not really. Not really. We've got an Arsenal squad that shits and giggles FC, right? We've got an Arsenal squad that's just come off a massive win against Crystal Palace. We've lost, unfortunately, our star boy. There's been a few bits and pieces happening in the background when it comes to transfers. There's a whole bunch of this and that happening right now. And now we have Ipswich, the last game of 2024, wanting to go out with a bang. This is what Arsenal need to do here. We need 3 points. It ain't no this or that or all of the above. We need to get our 3 points in this one because if we don't, guess what? Our January fixtures are horrible, guys. We need to carry on this sort of form. The Palace win, the hopefully Ipswich win. And to be honest, I'll be honest with you guys, if we drop points here, honestly, our title hopes, if we have any, are pretty much out the window. We really need to take the game to Ipswich and get it over and done with. Now, look, Ipswich is no pushover. I know they've lost game after game after game, but they've been in every game. You know, that they're not losing by a massive amount, except for the Newcastle game, which I know was 4-0. Real quick, guys, I've got Munzie in the building. Big up, Munzie. Please share. I'm out here live. Hey, whoever jumps on, you know what I mean? It would be a new high if you didn't talk about Arsenal. Get out of here, man. Get out. You want me to talk about Man United? You really want me to talk about Man United? Because I can do that. You guys are probably closer to Ipswich than you are Arsenal. You know what I mean, bro? You know what I mean? You have as much title hopes as United do. Yeah. Look, relax yourself, man. Stop comparing you guys and us. Let's not go there. As you can see, Munzie is a Man United fan. But let's go back into where we are. We've got Arsenal coming into this game against Ipswich without a key player. That key player being Bukayo Saka. All our attack has always been down that right-hand side. The partnership between Saka, Erdegaard, and which was once Ben White, now Urian Timber, is key to our attack, our build-up play. It allows us to stretch defenders and defences, pull them out of position, and hopefully open up those gaps. Now look at us here. No Bukayo Saka, a makeshift lineup, a January transfer window around the corner, and Ipswich, a team that right now is a wounded animal. A team that, look, let's be honest, in lower leagues, while high scoring, they come to play football. They're not here to just muck about. They're going to go for it. This is a free hit, in my opinion, against Arsenal. For them, they're going to look at this and say, here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity to see if we can just get our 3 points or even a draw. Anything will do for Ipswich. Whereas for Arsenal, it's nothing but a win. It's 3 points FC. You can't see me. January, here we go. We need to continue in this fashion. Brenny, I hope you're doing well, man. Man, look, I had a Christmas, man. It was what it was. It is what it is. I hope you had a wonderful one too. And I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. I hope everyone had a great time with their families and enjoyed themselves. You know what I mean? Don't get too drunk and all that. So I look at Ipswich at the moment. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I know everything about Ipswich. I'm not going there. It's not a team that's on my radar. I watched a few games here and there, right? And I noticed a few things. Here and there. I noticed that in the last few games, apart from Newcastle, that most of the attacks seem to be going down the right-hand side for Ipswich. So Harry Clark is the man who's going to defend that side, right? He's been abysmal. Most of the attacks keep building up off the left winger for the opposing team and exposing Harry Clark. Now, what are we going to do here? This opens up a chance for us to possibly get ourselves a quick snatch and grab goal. Harry Clark looks like he's leaky, right? And so is Ipswich. But in my opinion, I've looked at maybe 3 games. And look, to be honest, I knew it was against... Look, forget about the 4-goal dropping against Newcastle. That was a different game. But against Wolves, they were in it. And where did the Wolves goal come from? The left-hand side. Bournemouth, same thing. All the attack was coming left-hand side. I mean, I've got a banner here, guys. Check this out. Yeah, check this out. I'll put this together. And I was surprised. I was really surprised when looking at these games. If you check that out, Ipswich have conceded the most goals in play in 26 in total. All right, most of them come from the left wing. There you go. Wolves, Bournemouth, Newcastle, many attacks were left-hand sided. Yeah, facts. And I'm telling you guys, check out those games. Check out those games and see where I'm coming from. The left-hand side for any attacking team seems to be fluid against Ipswich. Now we need to expose that left-hand side. But the question here is, how do Arsenal shape up against them? See, now with the injury to Bukayo Saka, it changes things. Our attack, our build-up, everything under the sun is a little bit different. We sit here now and we wonder, does Martinelli go to the right? A right-footed player for the right wing? And we throw Leandro Trossard on the left. Knowing what we know now with Harry Clark, is it a gamble to have Gabriel Martinelli on the right-hand side, not the left? It's a good question. Is it Leandro Trossard that should start on the left? Now, in my opinion, I think Leandro Trossard would do quite well on the left-hand side, but it won't be with a Declan Rice there. I don't see it happening with Declan Rice. I'm of an opinion that it's highly likely that we're not going to see Declan Rice in the 8. We may see Declan Rice in the 6. Now that leaves room for another number 8. Is it going to be Ethan Nwaneri? Probably not. I'm sorry, guys. I know everybody's probably thinking to themselves, it's Ethan time. It's Ethan time. We'll get him on. I don't think so. I don't think Mikel Arteta is going to be gambling on Ethan on the left-hand side. I think we're going to be going with, think about it, yes, Kai Havertz in the 8. I think Kai Havertz will come in the 8, and he'll be holding that number 8 role and linking up with Leandro Trossard. Now, I know this doesn't sound great for most Arsenal fans. You're wondering why you got a midfielder sitting on the bench in Moreno. You're wondering why you got a midfielder sitting on the bench like Nwaneri. But I believe that Ipswich are going to come into this game. They are going to take the game at us, but at the same time, they are going to try to fall back sometimes into a low block. When they are defending, they're going to be defending in numbers. It's going to be 11 men behind the ball. They might want to try to hit us on a counter. And with players like Amari Hutchinson, right, who's playing the 10, and Delap at the moment, who's not doing too bad. Look, Delap at the moment, he's got 6 goals to his name. Amari hasn't done really well in goals and assists this season, but he is exposing teams. And look, Haaland boy wants to come back to Arsenal and say, hey, guess what? I'm back. You shouldn't have let me go. You never know. Something to prove, right? So Delap's got himself 6 goals. He might want to try and hit us on the counter. Now, it's not going to be easy. But if we're so far forward holding the high line like Tottenham, they could be able to expose us. Now, I understand that the argument here for having Kai Havertz in the midfield is going to be a bit, it's going to be out there. The reason why is because in the last game when we had, of course, against Palace, when we had Kai Havertz in the midfield defensively, it was a bit atrocious. Now, don't get me wrong, we got away with a win. But let's be honest, that game wasn't phenomenal. We smashed them, we destroyed them, but we weren't phenomenal in that game. So it's going to be key in this game to see how Mikel Arteta decides to approach Ipswich. Is he going to be cautious or is he going to be fast? Now, I believe that the only way we're going to be able to take the game to Ipswich is to build up play quick and break down that left-hand side. Our left, their right. Expose the right back. Stretch them. Break them down. It needs to be quick build-up play. We need to hit these guys early. Open them up, because if we do hit them early, they will open up. Guys, give me 1 sec. I've got my co-host in the building. Check this guy out. He's been here before. A familiar face. My guy, Akpos, how you doing, my guy? Can't hear you, bro. Can't hear you, brother. Sorry, Akpos, I cannot hear you right now. There
Can you
you
hear me
go.
now? Oh, okay.
Now I can hear you, and they can all hear you now. There you go. Turn that
I'm sorry.
microphone
I'm
on. We want
sorry.
to hear that pretty voice.
Since it's been a while, I've been on the channel. I had to test my mic to make sure it's working. Thanks for having me,
All good,
brother.
my guy.
Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody in the chat. And I hope it's been a fantastic show so far. Thanks for having me once again.
Oh, man, it's been my absolute pleasure to have you back, man. It's been a long time since I've been on. And to be honest, man, I just wanted to do this Ipswich chit chat, and me and you having a chat. It's been a while since me and you have done a stream together. It's a bit quiet in the chat at the moment, but it's all good. It's all good. And I was just talking a little bit about Ipswich. Now, one of the things I noticed in regards to Ipswich is, I don't know if you've watched too many games of theirs. I watched a few before this one, and I noticed that most of the goals in their last few games seem to be coming down from their right-hand side, their right back, more from the left wing and cut in, either a ball into the box or a goal pretty much out of that left-hand side. I'm wondering, and my question was, in my opinion, I see Gabriel Martinelli playing that right wing. Is it a good idea to throw Gabriel to the right and put Leandro Trossard on the left, knowing that Harry Clark is a player that right now has been exposed more than once for Ipswich? What are your vibes? What do you think about this Leandro Trossard, Gabriel Martinelli wing-to-wing thing?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting one, in my opinion, because this is going to be the first game with Bukayo Saka out, and we've all agreed that Saka it's not just being the most, how will I say it now? It's not just being the player that gives us most threat when it's starting in terms of getting into those dangerous positions and putting the ball on the back of the net. Saka has shown in the last couple of seasons more consistently that he can also be he can also be not just a goal scorer but also a creator. And so far this season, Saka has been Arsenal's biggest creator. So it's going to be an interesting one. I was reading through the transcript of Mikel's presser, pre-game presser leading to this game, and he was saying a couple of things on how it has to be creative, how the team has to be creative also. And I think a couple of journalists also asked him what to expect in terms of that right wing, and he said we have a lot of different players who could potentially play there. We've seen Gabriel Martinelli play there. We've also seen Gabriel Jesus play there. We've seen Leandro Trossard play there, and Ethan Wanner is also somebody who could also fit into that right wing. So it's going to be a very interesting one to see who is going to be there. And also, we might also potentially see a change of system, a change of shape, because that's one of the things we saw when Martin Odegaard was injured. We saw Mikel Arteta coming out with a 4-4-2 formation. So it's going to be interesting to see what formation is going to come out with against Ipswich, and also to see if it's going to, stick with the formation we were playing more in a 4-3-3 formation where we have got the ball in our possession. So it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to keep the same formation, and also who's going to start on that right wing for me. Because like I was saying the other day on the Armory, I was saying that with Saka out, we are going to need all of our offensive players, at least a minimum of 2 of our offensive players playing in a very high level consistently, because Saka, it's been, I was saying it the other day that we've practically become Saka FC right now, because if Saka does not turn up, if Saka does not bring in the goal or the assist, the team has struggled this season. So I think filling the shoe and that vacuum Bukayo Saka has left is going to be a massive one. But this is the time when we need all hands on deck. This is the time when we need all our players stepping up. This is the time when we need all the key guys offensively showing that they need to earn their wages, showing that, yes, without Saka, this team can actually go out there and win football games. So it's going to be interesting to see the formation Mikel will go with, and also the personnel it would go with, whichever system he picks.
Well, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And when I look at the gap that Saka is going to leave, right? It's massive. It's massive because it's a focal point for Arsenal. I think we all know that Bukayo Saka has cemented his position at right wing, and we can say he's the best player on the pitch. But without Bukayo Saka, I mean, Martin Odegaard, he's the kind of player that, he's key to pretty much our defense and our attack.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka more of our attack and influence when it goes coming forward. Now, when I look at the opportunities we have, I myself don't see Mikel Arteta changing our formation in regards to the loss of Bukayo Saka. I think he's going to be changing the personnel. And this is my opinion. I think let's not break what we already know. We're missing a right wing. Horses for courses. How can we replace that right wing? Now, I know, in my opinion, I know that Mikel Arteta has a hot spot and a love for Gabriel Martinelli. And I think in this game, Gabriel Martinelli will be a player that will be thrown out to the right-hand side, mainly because he's got that right boot, right wing, right boot. Maybe you can put a ball into the box. Do you believe that? Do you think that Gabriel Martinelli could do a job on the right side? I mean, he did it. He did against Crystal Palace. Lost you again. I've lost you again. We've lost you again, Akpos.
Can you hear me now?
You can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Apologies. The technology is trying to mess up.
Oh, good.
So, like I was saying, when my mic was muted up, I think the couple of minutes the minutes Martinelli had on the right against Crystal Palace, I think it did so much better than it was doing on the left, in my opinion, because I think it did not need to complicate things too much when he needed to put the ball in the box. It was, just getting business done. I think it was a more composed performance on the right, more, how will I say it, also a more organized, because one of the problems I had with Martinelli on the left off late is the fact that his decision making has been relatively very poor. The times when we expect him to cut in, it's not cutting in. The times when you expect him to put the ball in the box, it's not been doing it as we expect him to do on that high level, as we are seeing Bukayo Saka do on the right side. But when he came in on the right side when Saka was injured, I think Martinelli did so much better. His decision making was so much better. He knew when to dribble, when to to make the runs and all of that. So it will be interesting to see Martinelli also get some minutes also on the right, coupled with the fact that he's not been having a good run of games on the left. So I think on the right, one thing that Martinelli brings to this team is work rate. It's defensive side of the game. I think we would not miss that Saka defensive input on the right if Martinelli plays there. Because one thing about Saka is the fact that it drops deeps, is coming to cover when the team needs, when the right back needs cover, also coming deep to try to win the ball. I think Martinelli will be able to replicate that in the terms of the defensive side of the game. But what I would want him to do so much better is the offensive side that has been lacking in his input in the last couple of games. So I'll be expecting that if he plays on the right, he should try to replicate what he did at Crystal Palace and try to improve on that. That's what I would want to say with Martinelli on the right. And if he gets his decision making, time his passes at time, is timing when to dribble, when not to dribble, and all of that, when to release the ball on time for other players also in dangerous position. I think it could be a potential threat for opposition on the right, because we know he's going to always trouble teams with his space. But I think the problem is he needs to utilize other areas of his game. I think he needs to add a little bit of more than just relying so much on the space, because I think on the left, a lot of times I've seen Gabriel Martinelli rely too much on your pace, on his pace. He needs to add a little bit of, technical play and all that to his game on the right. So it will be interesting to see how Martinelli will fare on the right. But for me, I think it just needs to build on what he already started on with Crystal Palace. Just like you, I think Martinelli starts on the right also.
So if Gabriel Martinelli starts on the right, now I think that Gabriel Martinelli, the partnership between him, Martin Odegaard, and Yuri Timber will be a match made in heaven. It's speed and trickery all day. The trickery coming from Odegaard, the trickery coming from more from Yuri Timber, maybe less as much from Gabriel Martinelli. But it's they subsidize him in a sense, right? Now on the left though, this is where I was saying where we've got a problem. Well, not we have a problem. Harry Clark has a problem. He's had a problem at Ipswich. He's been leaking on that right hand side. It's good to watch. I've watched it. I just said every time a player cuts in early, it's on because he's always out of position. So this is where it becomes interesting, guys, because the left-hand side partnership, in my opinion, is going to be Leandro Trossard. You'd have to be crazy not to start Leandro, right? But will we see a partnership of Leandro on the left with Kai Havertz as the number 8? Now, hear me on this. We need to have more of an attacking threat in our build-up play. We saw Kai Havertz come in against Crystal Palace in the number 8 role. Now, don't get me wrong, defensively, it was woeful. But in my opinion, I see Ipswich kind of sitting back a little bit. Now, this is a team that does go against teams, does push, but they're going to be a bit silly to do that against Arsenal. Crystal Palace tried that, and look what they took. They took a lot on, and they got hammered. And there was no Bukayo Saka after 24 minutes. Nothing. All those other goals had nothing to do with him. Now, Ipswich will be looking at that. Do we see Kai Havertz in the midfield? Mikel Arteta thought here, Mikel Arteta cap on. Because I got a feeling we're going to see Kai Havertz in the midfield and Leandro Trossard to his left. What do you reckon? Is that a match made in hell? Or is that something we are going to see and we just don't want to see it because we want to see Wanyeri?
Well, for me, you know, I'm one of the guys also calling for having Ethan Nwaneri and Martin Odegaard together on the pitch because I actually want to see what that combination could potentially bring also. But I think something that you already pointed out was the fact that having Kai Havertz on the pitch against Crystal Palace gave us a little bit of that offensive edge in terms of the offensive side of the game, because I think with the way Mikel set up the team against Palace, we had a lot of goal scorers actually on the pitch at the get-go. But defensively, we struggled because I think there were minutes in the game where Thomas Partey was a little bit crowded out on because Kai Havertz was not able to replicate that defensive solidity, that control that a natural defensive midfielder, in my opinion, like Declan Rice could potentially bring into the midfield also. So I think in the area where we suffered defensively, Kai Havertz really did not do too much, in my opinion, in that game. But I think it got to go, which was very important with the way that game was going. I think we needed as much goals also to build our confidence because we've not scored a lot in the Premier League lately. Because going into that game, we were just coming from 2 Premier League draws. We struggled to score against Everton. We also struggled to get a second goal also against Fulham. So I think Mikel Arteta actually went for having a lot of goal scorers on the pitch. That's something I would also want to see us do again. But with Saka and having Gabriel Jesus, Leandro Trossard, and Martinelli potentially on the feed, I think it will give us a little bit of an option to have Kai Havertz on the bench, in my opinion, because I think also with the fact that when Declan Rice came onto the game in that second half against Crystal Palace, I thought we saw a different Declan Rice that we've seen in the last couple of games because he was moving the ball so much forward. I think his passing was in the forward direction more. How would I say? More like unlike we've seen in the last couple of games where he had made a lot of sideways passes, a lot of backward passes. But against Palace, when he came on, Declan Rice was actually progressing with the ball, passing forward, and also he got a goal. So I think with his performance in that cameo against Crystal Palace, I think he has earned a position to start this game against what's it called? Against Ipswich. But my what I would say is if Declan Rice has to start, we need to see more of what he did against Crystal Palace. We need to see him getting into the dangerous position and actually taking shots, actually passing balls, trying to make those final passes that we give the forwards assist. But looking at our bench and how so thin we have offensively, I would just feel like Mikel Arteta should have Kai Havertz on the bench and have him observe proceedings of how the game will be going and potentially bring him on in the second half where we need to change things a little bit with the forwards, in my opinion. So I just don't think we would just throw everything, throw all of our cards in at the get-go. So I think with the way Rice played against Palace, I feel if he can replicate that and, go forward a lot more, because one thing Thomas Partey also showed against Crystal Palace is the fact that if he's played alone, he would be able to handle all of the defensive duties that it would be that he would have on his shoulders, in my opinion. So I think we should trust Thomas Partey more in this role, and ask the left number 8 to also push forward a lot more. So it will be interesting to see who Mikel Arteta will go with. But in my opinion, I think we should go with Declan Rice and have Kai Havertz on the bench to give us something to throw into the fight, probably in the second half.
Look, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't want to see Kai Havertz in the 8. I just have a bad feeling that I'm going to see a Kai Havertz in the 8. I really do. And I would rather see a Declan Rice, Crystal Palace version of Declan Rice. And I think it would be in the best interests of Arsenal to have a solidified midfield. Since we've lost our star boy in the wing, a Declan Rice, Thomas Partey midfield, it does breathe a bit of, it sort of solidifies that midfield. It gives us a little bit of, it gives the defenders a bit of a reprieve, but we need to see more of a, I hate to say it, Granit Xhaka from Declan Rice, and less of a Thomas Partey in Declan Rice, where he sits back, right, and decides to maybe sit a little bit too far back from Ødegaard and not support his winger. On the up and up, the last player that I think everyone wants to know about is who plays left wing back. Now, if you want the Aussie Gooner's opinion of who plays left wing back, there's only one player that should be playing left wing back. And in my opinion, that's Ricardo. Calafiori is, for me, if he stays fit, he's going to be one of the best left backs to grace the Arsenal kit. This guy can move the ball. This guy can defend hard. This guy can take a shot. He's good going forward. He's good going back. And when he's moving the ball, he's doing it seamlessly. Now, I know Skelly's done very well in that position, but I believe that, unfortunately, because Ricardo moving forward is doing it so well and so fluently, Ricardo edges him out on that left-hand side. That way, solidifying our left wing and allowing, at least if it's a Declan Rice, Leandro Trossard, and Calafiori mix, to hopefully breathe a little bit of fire, or maybe take a couple of shots at Ipswich, much like we saw against Crystal Palace. What would you reckon on left wing back? You think it's Ricardo, or is it the Haaland boy? Huh?
Well, for me, I'm not really too concerned with the left back position, in my opinion, because I expect us to see a lot more of the ball. But talking about Ricardo Calafiori,
careful. Remember how many goals the Lap has scored for Ipswich, right?
No. I understand, but I think with a forward like Delap, in my opinion, if you cut him off the supply, and make him starve make him starve and feed on scrap, I think it would struggle so much against that defensive backline that we've got. So going into the game, I'm not going to just underrate Ipswich though, but I'm expecting that we are going to see so much more of the ball. So I don't think we should be too much worried about who plays on the left back. But one thing I think I would love Mikel Arteta to ask the left back to do in this game is to try to overlap Leandro Trossard, because one thing Trossard loves to do when he's playing on that left wing is the fact that Leandro Trossard loves to cut infield. So with Trossard cutting infield, the left back, the left full back can overlap him. And Ricardo Calafiori is somebody who's good with the ball going forward. He's got very good passing range, and he can also eat that shot if he gets into the dangerous position. So in my opinion, I would not want Mikel Arteta to ask Ricardo Calafiori to come infield that much. I would love to see Ricardo Calafiori trying to overlap, trying to get into those dangerous positions, trouble the right back from Ipswich, and also try to bring in those crosses in the box, because with way Gabriel Jesus is playing right now, is playing with a striker that's playing with so much confidence, and it seemed to he even went into a dangerous position to put the ball in the net with the back of with his head, the one that hit the post that Kai Havertz scored from against Crystal Palace. So I think we should try to put in a lot of crosses from the left side, and I would love Mikel to ask Calafiori to play more as an overlapping left back, not a left back cutting infield. Somebody's trying to play more infield, more in the midfield position. So I would love to see him making those overlapping runs and Leandro Trossard cutting infield, to bring in the other overload in the 18-yard box, in my opinion.
Well, we saw that against Crystal Palace. The goal that Declan Rice scored, that came from Calafiori. Calafiori cuts in. He's playing that inverted role when he needs to, and then plays that overlapping role when he needs to.
Yeah.
For me, I look at him when in the Arsenal squad, it's seamless the way he's come in and just adapted. He's a bit like Urian Timber. He just came in and said, "Oh, this is how we're playing. Yeah, all right, cool story. I'll make that happen. Watch this," and he just tears up either the left back position or the right back position. We got who we got here. We got the football capital saying, "How we doing, boys? We're doing all right. How you doing? How you doing, my guy? Huh? It's been a long time, huh?" Oh, Buche. AFC always, Arteta needs to know and understand how to utilize players to their strengths and switch up the style of play. Also learn more about game management and man management to players. The man management part is a big deal. The game management part's also a massive one. He has gotten a little bit better with game management, man management, not as much. As you can see, Bukayo Saka injured. He's got this Wenger-esque style where he has his favorites and he wants to play his favorites every time. You know, when you're playing FIFA, you keep dropping the same lineup. That's what Mikel's doing, and it just won't work for this many games. I mean, I look at our next few games. Like, if we look at the run of games that we've got in January, right? So, in my opinion, this game against Ipswich is key. We need to win this game. And the only reason we need to win this game is because we got a lot of football to play. The next few games, we got like 9 games, 5 at home. We got Football Capitals Man United in the FA Cup, right? And that's at home, right? Then we got a North London derby against Spurs. Then we got Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Then we got Villa. And then we get to walk over to the Etihad and play City. All next month. We got a whole bunch of games. And not to mention Champions League. We've still got Dinamo Zagreb to play and Girona as well. Right? I think Dinamo is here. Dinamo is in London. Girona is over there. So that's a lot of football to play. Right? And I'd like to finish 2024 with a bang. I think it's very important for us to continue on this sort of roll to ease into the next games. I mean, I don't know what you think, Akpos, but this game against Ipswich, it's a make or break, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is the must-win game. I think all the games we have during this festive period, up until the new year, we need to win. We don't need to drop any other points because we need to try to stay as close as possible to the teams that are above us, in my opinion. So we've already dropped a lot of points in some games that I think we should have won. So I think going forward to the next couple of games, this game against Ipswich Town, it's a must-win. We cannot afford to drop any points. Dropping any more points will be very frustrating from the fan base right now. Will be very disappointing also for the players. So I think everybody needs to take all of the next couple of games serious. Just like you were talking about Mikel Arteta's man management skill. I've been one of the people also criticizing him for that because I think so some of the reasons we have some players getting injured now is the fact that we've not really handled their load so much properly. With Bukayo Saka, for example, Saka has played a lot of games in the last 2 years for both club and country. And
he's played over 200 games.
Exactly. And this is a player that has been, has been screaming. A lot of us have been saying it. Protect this guy or he's going to get injured. Protect this guy or he's going to get injured. There were times where we have expected Mikel Arteta, to at least take Saka off when the game has been won. But we still see Saka still being played until start limping before Mikel Arteta takes him up. So I think he needs to try to utilize his squad so much better. And one of the issues I think he's having right now is the fact that he's set himself up so far this season to fail, in my opinion, because he has walked into the season with a squad that is very thin offensively, and he has no other option than to play Bukayo Saka. This, I think, is one of the reasons Saka has picked up this injury, because if during the summer when we had a window, when we had an opportunity to add in more quality up front, we missed on that golden opportunity. A lot of us have been calling for reinforcement. A lot of us have been calling for players that would be on the same quality as Saka to come into this team and help Saka and Martin Odegaard. But we've seen that this team is over reliant on Saka, and Saka has to play every game. If we had brought in maybe a left winger or an elite level striker in the last summer transfer window, then we would have a little wiggle room to rotate in terms of taking Saka off the team, and the quality offensively would not drop massively because you have another player who's top quality who could potentially give you goals and assists. But not doing that has forced Mikel Arteta into a position where Saka has to play every game because he's the most dangerous player the team has got offensively. Looking at the assists, you could see how many goals he has contributed to so far this season. So I think Arteta needs to get so much better in terms of the way he's building a squad, because how you build your squad at the start of the season will determine if you will be able to rotate or not. Because you've let Eddie Nketiah go, you've let Fabio Vieira go, you've let Emmy Smith-Rowe go, and these guys are more of offensive players, in my opinion, and you've brought in just only one offensive player to cover for these guys in Raheem Sterling. And Raheem Sterling, in my opinion, was a panic signing, and that signing has not panned out well. So definitely you have even no backup for Saka, in my opinion. So I think what this club should be looking at is try to bring in players of top quality level that would help our best players, and that would also give these guys reduce the workload on them, reduce the expectation on our star players, and also reduce, how will I say it, reduce that urge to perform. Because you can see Saka is always playing with, I'm trying to carry this team every single time. So you need other players who would come in and take on these responsibilities, and we can also try to rotate our top players more and keep them more fit. Because if you watch what Inzaghi is doing with Inter Milan right now, he has a lot of good offensive players. So if you've noticed, even in the Champions League games, Lautaro Martinez is not starting every game. There were some games you have seen that he has been on the bench and he comes in on the bench because the coach is trying to rotate and keep him fresh as much as possible for their challenge, both for the Serie A and also for the UEFA Champions League campaign. But when you have not set up your team in a right way, then you will be obliged to play your best players every single time. So I think Mikel Arteta needs to get so much better with his recruitment and how he's setting his team up, and also how he's managing the load of these players. Because I think Saka has been overloaded, not just this season alone. For the last 2 years, this guy has been overloaded. So last summer, we should have brought in maybe at a minimum of one player to ease up that load and the work burden on Saka.
Understandably, that Mikel Arteta has overloaded Saka. I think all Arsenal fans know how thin this squad really is. Unfortunately, those are things that the Arsenal, ownership is going to have to start thinking about in January. Mikel Arteta has wasted a lot of money, in my opinion. But unfortunately, that money's gone. We are where we are. We're a team that's very thin up front. The options that we do have are something that we can sit down and gloat about, unfortunately. I mean, when we're talking about Kai Havertz, we're talking about Gabriel Jesus, these aren't names that everybody knocks on the door and says, wow. But unfortunately for Arsenal at the moment, this is where we live now. Any player that comes in January will probably come in mid-January. In my opinion, this game against Ipswich comes to us maybe at the right time. Even Palace, who are going to get an injury, at least these two teams, allowing us to possibly test other players in the right wing position with slightly different tactics. And I think Arsenal at the moment are a team that need to start figuring out how to play without Bukayo Saka and how to play without him for a while. I look at Ipswich in this game at the moment, and to be perfectly honest, the games that we got coming up afterwards are massive. Arsenal versus Ipswich is a massive game. As much as it should be a given, as massive. Much as everyone, I mean, look, I read something that the last time that Ipswich beat Arsenal at home was 1979 under Bobby Robson. Right? So it's that long ago that they were able to beat us. We need to keep them at bay. We need to get those 3 points. But to be perfectly honest, Ipswich have played games after game after game. Now, apart from the 4-0 against Newcastle, so let's just wash that one out for now. Every other game they were in it. They lost, but they didn't lose by margins. I mean, the win against Wolves, that was another goal that came from the left-hand side. That was Cunha on the left-hand side. If you remember, right? They're right. He's on the left. He scored for Wolves, but they won that game. They lost 2-1 to Bournemouth. There's one goal in that. The penalty, Palace, 1-0. Forest, 1-0. And then before that, it was a 1-1 to United. So this is a team they're going for it. They're not going to sit back. Delapa's got 6 goals. He's playing on the right-hand side. Calafiori's going to have his hands full. He's got to be careful. I think Arsenal need to go in there, take this game seriously, and hopefully we get a goal early rather than later. I don't think the slow build-up play is going to be what we need in this game, in my opinion. I think we need to take this game to them early. If we don't, we could be stuck in an Everton switch where we're continuously going forward after 30 minutes, realizing these guys are in a low block and we go nowhere. Adam says, Arsenal need to act like a big club and sign Olmo on a free. That's only if Barcelona do not release a different player. See, Barcelona at the moment, I think there was an injured player, I forgot his name, that's currently out of the squad. There's 2 ways about it, and there's a dirty way about it as well. Barcelona could let go of one and say, look, you're injured, we're going to let you go and re-sign you in the summer. And that way they'd be able to keep Olmo. There are the dark arts when it comes to this kind of stuff. But hey, who knows? If we can get Olmo, that'd be great. It'll add to our squad depth. He plays 10, he plays on the wings. Who knows? But is he a good enough winger? Hopefully. Now I think about these squads coming up, and honestly, Akpos, I've got my predicted lineup, right? Now, everyone's got their lineups. I've got my lineup, the lineup I want to see. Now, I know everybody's probably sitting there and they're thinking to themselves, well, what's Mikel Arteta going to do? I don't care. I really don't care. Mikel Arteta's going to do his thing. I want to do my thing. So my predicted lineup is going to go on the banner right now. Ozzy Gunes come in. I want Raya in goal, of course. Timber on the right. Saliba and Gabriel make up the defensive back line. Calafiori definitely left on the left wing back. Thomas Partey comes in the midfield. I do want to see Declan Rice in the 8 forward. That's what I want to see. But I want to see Trossard on the left. I want to see Martinelli on the right. And I want to see Jesus in the middle. I don't want to see Havertz anywhere near the midfield. Only because Ipswich are a team that can come at you. They can. In their previous games, if you think about it, the teams that they've lost against, it wasn't easy. They didn't make it easy, and they don't mind scoring goals. So that's my predicted lineup. I believe that would be the best possible lineup for Mikel Arteta to go for. Now, we've got Ethan on the bench. That's a player you can throw in as a number 8 if Declan Rice isn't working. And maybe then you can pull Thomas Partey off the field for Ethan, allowing Declan Rice to sit in the 6 and Ethan to play in the 8. Maybe allow a little bit more fluidity going forward. But these are substitutions that we could make. Akpos, you tell me. What is your predicted lineup for this game?
I would totally go with yours. For me, David Raya in goal, Urian Timber right back. We know the partner, the centre back partnership. It's unplayable, unchangeable in my opinion. I think Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes starts for me. Ricardo Calafiori plays as the left back. Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard play as my midfield 3. And Gabriel Jesus. I'm seeing this one coming from Bekele is saying Martinelli up front, Gabriel Jesus left wing. I don't think I would want to play a player that is playing with so much confidence right now. A player that is playing with so much charisma right now. Everything is touching right now is turning into goals. So I don't think we have any reason to take Gabriel Jesus out of that center forward position. In my opinion, Kai Havertz needs to sit on the bench right now for Gabriel Jesus because it's the most player that it's in form deserves to start. Right now, Gabriel Jesus has not put a foot wrong, So I think Jesus deserves to keep that number 9, that center forward position, in my opinion. If it's not spoiled, if it's not bad, we don't have to change it. So I would disagree with you on that one, Bekele. Gabriel Jesus needs to start as the center forward. Gabriel Martinelli, right wing for me, and Leandro Trossard, left wing for me. So that's my starting, my preferred starting lineup.
We've got the same starting lineup, and look, I can see where you're coming from. That partnership between Martinelli and Jesus, when Jesus was playing up front, Martinelli left, they switched anyway. They did. They were switching a lot.
But
I just believe that. I just believe Trossard on the right hand side is just nothing on the right hand side. He's just useless on the right. So we don't want to make ourselves a one-dimensional Arsenal, which is what we are. But with Bukayo Saka, he brings that more into it. Adam comes in and says, if not, I would take Mbeumo from Brentford to cover that wing. Now, Mbeumo is a good shout, and I'm going to jump into this real quick. But will Mbeumo come to Arsenal knowing that when Bukayo Saka comes back, he'll be on the bench? That's my question to you. Trossard
and also, if I wanted to add something on Trossard, Ossie, most of the best games Trossard has played for us has always come on the left side, that left wing, in my opinion.
Definitely.
So I think that is Leandro Trossard's best position. I've seen him playing different roles in this team, but a lot of times that he has given us those vital goals, those crucial moments, is when he's playing on that left wing, in my opinion. So I would always want to leave him there. So that's another reason why I also want to see Gabriel Martinelli playing on the right side, because on the left, Gabriel Martinelli has not really been up to par, has not really been up to this standard, and a lot of us has even been calling for him to be replaced potentially in January transfer window. And I know you are also one of the people calling for us to get a left winger, which I think it's been long overdue. We need an upgrade on the correct left wingers we have at this football club. So I totally agree with the point you were making, Ossie. Trossard needs to start on the left.
No, I think so. I agree. We've got what do we got? If Martinelli plays up front, Eduardo da Silva region, who says no? Look, Martinelli could play up front, but I believe that if that's going to happen, it would have to be a shift between Jesus and Martinelli. Jesus shifting to the right while Martinelli trends into the center. And if they want to go from from right to center, back and forth, I don't mind that. It just makes it a little bit different. But I don't want to see Martinelli start in the number 9 for the same reasons. Akpos is clearly stated. You've got Gabriel Jesus in great form. It ain't broke, don't fix it. He's scoring goals. We need goals in this game. We just need 3 points, guys. We just need those 3. How we get them, I'm not worried. I'm really not. I just want to see if we can play with Martinelli on the right. Now, if he decides to track in and Jesus decides to track to the right, much like they were doing when he was on the left, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Adam Elminio says, Mbeumo and Gyökeres in January if we really have some ambition. Yeah. But those 2 signings would probably cost us about £180 million, give or take, in January. That would be serious business, and that would revitalise the squad. But again, the Mbeumo signing, will he want to come to Arsenal to play on the bench eventually? And will Brentford be happy to get rid of Mbeumo now when they're sitting in 12th? Brentford might not want to do this. It might be, don't get me wrong, it ain't going to help their situation. The talisman leaving mid-season, and they're not even a top half. It's a very tough one there. AFC always 4-2-3-1 formation. 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. We always shift in between that. So yeah, definitely. And Rice can play as a centre back. Well, yeah, if we're down a centre back, but luckily we're not. What do we got here? Here we go. Always great boy. Trossard didn't want to be Brighton due to the beef with Zerbi. Something similar is happening with Cunha with Wolves. But is Cunha going to be a massive upgrade on the left wing? I don't think so. I think he's good. I think he'll be good depth. I don't believe he's the finished product for Arsenal. I think Arsenal need to go in there for that talisman. Not the same as Saka, but up there with him. We need a quality player because, to be honest, I'm done with the band-aid solutions on the left. Wishing Mbeumo could play the left, but he's either in the right or a centre for me. And I don't see him playing in the centre as a number 9. I would rather Gyökeres in there all day. Boniface all day. Osimhen, please. But we won't go there. But guys, that'll do it. That's the match preview, guys.
Talking about Nigerians, Aussie. Sorry, I need to cut you. I need to cut you off on this one. Talking about Nigerians,
all right.
one player we could also potentially get on the left is Ademola Lookman, in my opinion. But
I know what you're going to say about Lookman. Okay, I know what you're going to say about Lookman. Now, I'm going to jump in, guys. We're not going anywhere. This preview is not done. We're staying. Now, Lookman, in form. Lookman's doing good. I think Atalanta, am I right?
Yeah. Atalanta.
He's decent. He's doing well. But in the Premier League,
he has struggled.
He struggled. But you know what? He's in form. Problem I have with Lookman, 27 years old. 27. He's not the youngest player. But we can get him. We could get him. But is he, I don't know, the finished article on the left? Is it a gamble? I mean, look, Boniface wouldn't be a gamble. Gyökeres wouldn't be a gamble, right? Mbeumo wouldn't be a gamble, right? But these are all positions that, we need to fill and not fill at the same time. The left-hand side is a difficult side to fill, especially when Neto went to Chelsea. So Lookman could be the guy. But you know what? Before we go, what are you thinking about this game, man? We didn't do predictions here. We didn't do predictions. What are you thinking? What's the scoreline, Akpos? I'm not going to give you my scoreline. You give me yours.
Well, for me, I would love this team to go with a convincing win at home, and I would also want David Raya to get a clean sheet, because I think so far this season we've considered a lot of goals in some games where we were expecting not to concede, because we know this back four we have is a very solid one. I think we have the best in the division, if you ask me, Paul. If you look at the number of goals, it's not really showing right now that we have the best defense in the league. So I think that's something we need to show up. So Ipswich is a team that's going to pose us threat offensively, but we need to make sure we cut off those threats as they are trying to bring it up. We need to make sure we keep that clean sheet. For me, I want to see a David Raya clean sheet, and we will need the entire team to be able to get this done. So hopefully no messing around at the backs, no silly mistakes from our defenders, no silly mistakes from our midfielders, and also we'll be able to defend as a unit, defend as a team, get the clean sheet. And also I would love to see a lot of goals, because one of the things we've been screaming for is we want to see this team scoring more goals. Just like we put 5 past Crystal Palace the other day, I would love to see a goal scoring fest. So for me, I would want to go with a 3-0 victory. But if it ends at a 4-0 victory, I will take it. I will take it in the Christmas spirit. That sounds wonderful.
Mate, you've got my scoreline, but I don't think we're going to have a clean sheet. I just don't believe in our clean sheet. I mean, Calafiori being there does give me a little bit of reprieve when it comes to that. I think he's going to be solid, but I was also thinking there'd be 3 goals in this, and I think it was going to be 3-1. Adam's coming in real quick. I'm going to go through these ones real quick. Why not Saka on the left? Now, hear me on this. I know Saka can play the left, but because he's been playing the right so good, would you take Mohamed Salah and put him on the left since he's been so good on the right?
Exactly.
You wouldn't, right?
Exactly.
You wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. And so I know it's, why don't we throw him on the left and get a new right winger? Do you get me? He's been so good on the right. I think what we need to do is look at our issue. And our issue is our left wing and number 9 right now. And let's get those positions filled. Really get those positions filled. Now look at this. Osimhen and Lookman. Okay. You get me those 2, all right? And I'll take Lookman on the left, man. I'll take him on the left. With Osimhen down the middle, no problem. I don't care how bad a game Lookman's having. I don't care how shit he's playing. No problem. He could put in a dodgy ball into the box and it would be great. Adam comes in. I want Isak next summer. Imagine Isak on the left, Gyökeres as a centre forward, and Saka on the right. Isak as a left wing? I don't know. I've never seen him play left wing. Don't get me wrong, maybe he could, but he's a big boy to play left wing. Very big.
I
it'd
think
be nice, but
he can play left wing, but I don't think that's his best position in my opinion. I would if we get Isak, I would not want to take him off the center forward position. I would just leave him there and get a, how will I say it, a natural left winger.
Just fill that side and be done with it and feed him. Because that would be what Saka would be doing. It would be wonderful. Here we go. I knew this was going to come up. I knew it. Duran from Villa. All right. Now, this is my problem with Duran from Villa. How long has he been doing it for? Not long enough.
We see eye to eye on this.
Not long enough, right? I like him. He's great, but not long enough. Does it again? I'm interested. It's early days. We need a player now. We need that player who's ready now. I think we need to go out there with the big money, and we need to go out and spend some big money. Not muck around anymore. It's Arsenal Football Club. We're playing Ipswich, for God's sake. Akpos has said 3-0. I've said 3-1. We should be knocking these guys for 5. Adam says there should be enough games for everyone if we really are going for every competition. Signing Mbeumo means Saka doesn't need to play every game, even when he's fit. That's true. But Mbeumo's got starting line football at Brentford, and Brentford would not want to lose Mbeumo now. Now, if they were to sell him, it would be for a big fee. Now, don't get me wrong, we could afford that. But how about this, Adam? How could you sell this to Mbeumo? We all know Mbeumo will never take that right wing from Saka. Do you think Mbeumo will come to Arsenal to be a sub? I don't know. Big up, Naga. Big up, bro. Big up. Good to see ya. HBD to Aaron Ramsey. Was he better than Odegaard? Never. Aaron Ramsey, sideways football. Aaron Ramsey gets the ball, passes backwards. Aaron Ramsey doesn't know what he's fucking doing. I was so happy when he left. I was friggin' partying when they let him go. So happy. Big up, man. It has been a long time, man. Belated Christmas to you guys.
But you think, I think there's an area where I would love Martin Odegaard to a little bit copy Aaron Ramsey is try so much. Yes. Hear me out. try to get into those dangerous positions and take shots a lot more. Because one thing about Aaron Ramsey was the fact that Ramsey scored a lot of goals coming from deep from the midfield position. So I think there's something I want to see Martin Odegaard do a lot more. I think he has done it one season, but he has not been able to replicate it since then. I want to see Martin Odegaard getting in the goals a lot more. In terms of technical ability, Aaron Ramsey is nowhere near Martin Odegaard, but I'm talking about finishing. I want to see Martin Odegaard finish so much better and try to be a little bit more selfish, because a lot of times I see him also get into some of these dangerous positions, and instead of taking the shots, he wants to pass the ball. So just maybe he needs to add a little bit of selfishness to his game. That's what I was trying to, to say. Not
rate himself.
Like Aaron Ramsey.
Rate yourself for the shot.
Aaron Ramsey.
Rate yourself for the shot. Take it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know what you mean. Here's a shout from Bournemouth. Yeah. But that would not be, would that be good enough for a left wing full time? No. But for depth, yes. But if you've got Gabriel Jesus, if you've got Gabriel Martinelli, and you've got Leandro Trossard, and you've got, do you get what I'm saying? It's too much depth and not enough starters. It's hard on the left side, guys. It's very hard. Oh, here we go. Look at this. He can copy Ramsey's form in the cup finals. That would be, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what we're talking about. If he can copy that kind of form and just, he sees the opportunity and just ping it, like a Declan Rice, like a Granit Xhaka, opportunity, bang, that would be great. There's been too many times, like Akpos has said, Martin Odegaard has said, you know what, I'm going to go for the pass. He Ozils it, right? He shouldn't Ozil all the time. Sometimes I think what he needs to do is, just like Akpos was saying, maybe just take a crack. Work on your shooting a bit and take a crack. Because even sometimes when he does shoot from right in front of the fucking goal, jeez, he's nearly as bad as Partey sometimes. And it's like he hesitates to take a shot a lot. He does. It's as if his confidence is just lacking when it comes to taking a shot. But I think there is tons of potential. Marmoush and Baleba. Yeah, Marmoush, I heard about him the other day, and I actually have had a good look at him. He seems to be the Ducks' guts at the moment. 26 years old, Egyptian, not a short player, but he would come at a pretty good fee. Now,
expensive, yes.
Yeah, the Partey replacement for me is Declan Rice, guys, because I want Barella to come in, solidify him on midfield and become Santi Cazorla. That's what we want. That's what we want. But guys, look, I am going to end the stream here. And to be honest, I would like to thank everyone that's joined us this morning, this evening. It's been an absolute great chat. Akpos, it's been an absolute pleasure. Look, if you want, do you want to plug your channel real quick? Let everyone know where you're at.
Well, for my African brothers, and if you understand pidgin, you will always find me very more frequent and often on Football in Pidgin across the different social media platforms. I'm streaming always there. You can find me there.
That's awesome, guys. Please check out his channel. Check him out on Instagram as well. I'm on Insta as well. Guys, from the Aussie Gooner, from Akpos, it's 3-1 Aussie Gooner. It's 3-0 Akpos. It's 3 points against Ipswich. We're going to finish this year with a bang. And guys, it's Uru, guys. I'll see you later, huh? Uru.